The wedding collapsed because of one guest. My brother walked away at the altar after discovering the bride had invited the one person our family swore never to forgive, and that was just the beginning of the nightmare. Welcome to Storytime Reddit, everyone. I'm the youngest of three siblings, and today I want to share a moment I'll probably never forget for the rest of my life, the day my brother walked out on his bride at the altar. And the reason? She invited the one person our entire family can't stand, our biological mother. Now, I know what you might be thinking. How could inviting your own mother to your wedding be such a terrible offense that it ends the whole ceremony? But once you understand who our mother really is and everything she put us through, it'll all start to make sense. I'm 29 years old. My oldest brother, Joe, is 35, and the brother in the center of this story, Samus, 33. Our parents divorced when I was just 3 years old. The reason behind their divorce wasn't your typical irreconcilable differences. It was our mother's extreme, pathological jealousy. At first, my dad tried to stay calm and make the marriage work, but it spiraled out of control when she started accusing a toddler me of trying to replace her as my father's wife. Yeah, seriously. That's how twisted it got. After the divorce, our mother quickly moved on with another man who already had 2 kids of his own, but when our father eventually got remarried, she completely lost it. She verbally attacked our stepmother, accused Dad of cheating, and spread countless lies to try to sabotage their relationship. Despite all this, my father never tried to keep her away from us. He honored the visitation rights and encouraged us to maintain a relationship with her, but his efforts were constantly met with cruelty and manipulation. One of the most painful memories I have is when our stepmother passed away. She was an incredible woman and basically a second mother to us, but our biological mom refused to let us attend the funeral. Instead, she took us on a weekend getaway, acting like it was some fun trip. When we found out what had happened and cried, she coldly said, "Only worthless people cry over that woman." By the time each of us turned 18, we had all cut contact with her. The last time I ever saw her was at my high school graduation. She caused a scene, loudly declaring to everyone that we were ungrateful brats. Her current husband chimed in with insults that still haunt me. So yeah, now you understand inviting her to any event, especially a wedding, is crossing a line. Sam's fiancée, Daniela, knew all of this. She had heard every story, seen the hurt firsthand, and even promised Sam she would never try to make him reconcile with our mother. We believed her. We trusted her. But we had no idea what she was planning behind our backs, until the day of the wedding. As I walked into the church, the first thing I saw stopped me cold. Sitting in the very front row was our mother along with her current husband and his 2 kids. My heart dropped. I panicked and immediately called Joe and Sam. Sam assumed our mother had somehow found out about the wedding and was trying to crash it. So he called Daniela to warn her there might be drama. But her response was what crushed us completely. I invited them. Yes, she betrayed our entire family, especially Samby, secretly inviting the one person we had been avoiding our entire lives. Sam didn't argue. He didn't yell. He just told me to come pick him up. Joe stayed behind to inform the guests. My brother, the man who had loved Daniela enough to commit to spending the rest of his life with her, chose to walk away from everything. And as for me, I fully supported his decision, because sometimes the worst part of a relationship isn't the breakup itself. It's the silent betrayal that blindsides you at the exact moment you thought you were safe. You've probably guessed by now, me family is far from normal. But today, I want to dive deeper into why the 3 of us siblings, especially my middle brother, Sam, cut ties so completely with our biological mother that he refused to even let her attend his own wedding. I'm the youngest of 3. Sam is the middle child, and Joe the oldestus, the one who's always stepped in like a protective shield, especially when it came to my mother's cruelty. The dysfunction began when I was incredibly young. Our parents divorced when I was just 3 years old. The reason? My mother's jealousy wasn't just intensate, bordered on pathological. In the early days, my dad did everything he could to be patient and understanding. He wasn't perfect, but he truly loved us and tried to keep the peace. But then, my mom started saying disturbing things like claiming I was trying to replace her as his wife. And why? Because I enjoyed spending time with my dad, like any normal little girl would. To any sane person, it sounded ridiculous, but to her, it was reason enough to lash out. After the divorce, she wasted no time moving on. She got a new boyfriend who had kids of his own, and suddenly, we were part of a blended mess. Meanwhile, we were still going back and forth between her place and our dad's. When Dad eventually remarried a kind, loving woman, the woman we all came to see as our second moomer mother snapped. She hurled insults at our stepmom, accused our dad of cheating, and spread lies to anyone who would listen. Despite her behavior, our dad never cut her off. He allowed her visitation, even paid for our travel, but her behavior just got worse. The turning point came when our stepmother tragically died in a car accident. Our dad called to let our mom know he'd be picking us up early for the funeral. But instead of supporting us, she took us on a celebration trip as if nothing had happened. When we found out the truth and cried, she looked at us coldly and said, "Only useless people cry over a woman like that." That was it. That was the moment I stopped calling her mom in any real sense. After that, our dad fought for full custody and won. But even then, he kept the door open for us to have a relationship with her. He still covered travel expenses and encouraged communication. But the damage was done. By the time we each turned 18, we had all gone no contact. The last time I ever saw her was at my high school graduation. She didn't come to celebrate. She came to shame us publicly, calling us ungrateful brats, while her husband shouted insults that still haunt me. That was the final straw. No more letters, no more calls, no more chances. We cut her off for good. Sammy brother was the only one who ever tried to maintain even the slightest connection with our biological mother. Not because he wanted to, but because his then-girlfriend genuinely believed that children should always forgive their parents. It didn't matter how many stories Sam told her. It didn't matter how clearly he laid out the psychological abuse, the manipulation, the trauma we endured. She still believed we were being dramatic, that we were exaggerating everything. Sam tried to be patient with her. He loved her deeply. But that disagreement, that quiet dismissal of the pain we had carried for years, planted the first major crack in their relationship. And then, the worst happened. But that's a separate part of this story, and it begins on what was supposed to be the happiest day of Sam's life, his wedding day. I got to the church earlier than most, not because I was particularly excited or nervous, but because something felt wrong. I had this heavy feeling in my chest like something bad was about to happen, even though I couldn't explain why. When I stepped into the ceremony hall, I stopped in my tracks. Sitting in the front row, dressed like she belonged there, was our mother. Along with her husband and his 2 children, it felt like a punch to the gut. The same woman who had emotionally tormented us for years, who had made our childhoods miserable, who we had all cut off for our mental well-being, was sitting there, acting like nothing ever happened. I immediately stepped outside and called both my brothers. Samor Groom was stunned. At first, he assumed she had just shown up uninvited, trying to ruin his day. He was clearly shaken but still holding it together. He called his fiancée to warn her there might be a scene. That's when the real betrayal hit. She admitted it. She had invited our mother. Sam was silent for several long seconds. Then he hung up. No shouting, no drama. Just a simple request to me. Come pick me up. While I drove Sam away, Joe, the oldest, stayed behind to deal with the fallout. All 3 of us already knew the wedding was over. There would be no vows. No, I do. Just the truth laid bare in the worst possible way. Soon after, people from the bride's side began showing up at the house, begging Sam to come back, to reconsider. But how do you talk sense into someone after you've stabbed them in the back? And the final blow? A text message to Joe from the bride, saying she invited our mother because valuing family is the best wedding gift. There was no apology, no remorse, just that. She called that betrayal a gift. I had never seen Sam look so broken. He didn't cry, he didn't scream, but every breath he took felt like he was trying not to drown. That night, the 3 of us sat together in silence like we were kids again, not to hide from the world, but to remind each other that no matter how messy things got out there, we still had each other. The wedding never happened. All the gifts sent to our house were returned. The bride stood outside the church crying, calling nonstop. My mother? She went into full drama tears, accusations, sob stories about how cruel we were. But this time, no one was buying it. Joe stood in front of everyone and said clearly, "Sam is not coming. Please go home. Thank you for being here." Calm, cold, firm, but necessary. That's the price of betrayal. In our family, there's one thing we've always held sacred: protecting one another from those who no longer deserve to be called family. My older brother Sam walked away from his own wedding after discovering that his fiancée, Daniela, had secretly invited our biological mother, the same woman all 3 of us brothers had completely cut off for years. The betrayal was like a dagger to the heart. We thought that after such an emotional explosion, things would settle down, but we were wrong. Because what came next was yet another wedding gift. And this one came straight from the woman Sam once planned to marry. Sam never had any intention of reconciling with Daniela after what happened. After we left the church, we took him back to our dad's house so he could rest and start processing everything. But Daniela's family wouldn't let go. They bombarded Sam with calls, blamed him for ruining the wedding, and even threatened to sue him for breach of commitment. It sounds ridiculous, but I swear it happened. Then came the final punch to the gut. Daniela texted my oldest brother, Jove, with a message we'll never forget. I thought inviting your mom was a meaningful wedding gift. I did it because I value family. That was her justification. Her gift was the emotional trauma Sam had spent his entire adult life trying to bury. No apology, no remorse, just a tone-deaf declaration wrapped in the pretense of family values. After reading that message, Sam didn't say a word, but I saw it in his face. The love was gone, completely and irreversibly. Things only got worse. The house our dad had gifted them for the wedding titled under Sam's name was supposed to be their shared home. Daniela had a key, and she was supposed to return it after the split. Instead, she sent photos and videos of Sam's belongings tossed across the floor, thrown out like garbage. It was a threat, a power move. She even texted Sam's best friend, Tom, saying she'd burn his things if Sam didn't come see her. This wasn't heartbreak, it was manipulation, a twisted need for control. Sam couldn't bring himself to see her, so he asked Jove, Tom, and a few trusted friends to collect his things. They retrieved everything in one evening. We thought it was finally over. But then Daniela's family demanded a sit-down to clear the air. Sam agreed under one condition. The meeting would happen at our house, and our entire family would be present. Daniela arrived with her parents and two sisters. She asked to speak with Sam privately. He said no. Right there, in front of everyone, she flipped the script, blaming him for everything. Accusing our family of being a cult, claiming Sam was brainwashed to hate maternal love. We sat there listening, and Sam? He just looked at her, completely calm, like someone watching the last flame of a burnt-out fire. At that point, we were all boiling inside, and then Sam stood up. For the first time after all the pain, he finally spoke. "You're a liar," he said, "a manipulator dressed up as an angel. I used to think you were a good person. I let a lot of things slide because I believed you loved me. But now I know you were just playing a role to get what you wanted." No one interrupted. Sam continued calmly but firmly, "I don't hate you. Because hate would mean I still feel something for you. But right now, you're nothing more than a painful lesson I had to learn in order to grow." And just like that, Daniela, who once dreamed of a fairy tale wedding, could only cry. But those weren't tears of love. They were tears of someone who had just lost control. As for us, that was the first time in a very long while that Sam looked truly free. I still remember the shock I felt reading the message sent by my brother's ex-girlfriend, let's call her D, to my oldest brother. The message was short, simple, and hit like a slap in the face to our entire family. "I thought inviting your mom was a meaningful wedding gift because I value family." By wedding gift, she meant inviting our biological mother, the very woman we had completely cut out of our lives due to the trauma and emotional damage she caused. A gift? Seriously? I thought about our dad, the man who had just bought Sam and Dee a house as a wedding gift, a generous, heartfelt gesture. And now, after the shock of betrayal, my brother had to watch the woman he was about to marry make peace with the one person he despised the most. We acted immediately. We changed the locks and made a plan to move all of Sam's things out of Dee's apartment. My older brother, a couple of cousins, and Sam's best friend Tom handled the entire move. They were so efficient that Sam joked, "Pretty sure that's the fastest moving crew in history." What made us even angrier was that after all of this, Dee showed no remorse, no apology, not a single message admitting any wrongdoing. She kept behaving like she was the one who had been betrayed. When confronted, she doubled down, saying our family didn't understand the true value of family and that she only wanted Sam to learn how to appreciate a mother. Honestly, it sounded like something ripped straight out of a bad soap opera. I saw the rage building in Sam's eyes. He had stayed quiet for too long. And when Dee began calling our family a toxic cult and even accused our dad of being a bad father, that was the final straw. Sam exploded. He let out everything he had bottled up over 3 years of loving her. All the fake sweetness, all the times she disrespected me and our brother, all the little red flags he had chosen to ignore in the name of love. He ended his speech with a line I'll never forget. I don't hate you because hate is still a feeling. And right now, I feel absolutely nothing for you. When she began to tear up and said she was keeping the engagement ring, Sam just shrugged. Go ahead, keep it as a souvenir of your betrayal. The meeting ended in heavy silence. Her family, the same people who once threatened to sue Sam for humiliating their daughter, said nothing. Maybe because deep down they knew the truth, they just didn't have the courage to face it. As they left, I felt a new energy enter our old home. Relief, closure, the sense that we had finally cut off a toxic relationship for good. We don't know what Dee might try next, but one thing is certain. Sam is no longer the same man. He's no longer blindly chasing love at all costs. He's a man who's been hurt, but never broken, and to me, that's a bigger victory than any wedding ever could be. Let me tell you about one of the most bizarre reconciliation meetings I've ever witnessed, a gathering where every lie, every manipulation, and every emotional wound was dragged into the open, and my beloved brother walked away with his dignity intact. After Sam, my brother, walked out of his own wedding just moments before the ceremony, we thought that would be the end of it. His fiancée, Daniela, had secretly invited our estranged mother to the wedding, knowing full well our entire family had cut ties with that woman years ago because of deep emotional abuse. That betrayal was enough to call everything off, or so we thought. But Daniela wasn't ready to let things end. She kept texting Sam, calling him, sending photos and videos of his belongings strewn across the floor of their shared home. It was psychological warfare, a pathetic attempt to force a confrontation. Eventually, Sam agreed to meet with her, but he had one condition. The meeting would take place at our father's house, and our entire family would be there to support him. When Daniela arrived with her parents and two sisters, the air immediately grew heavy. She didn't walk in with humility or regret, no tears, no apology. Instead, she launched into a speech, one that painted herself as the victim. I just wanted you to understand the value of a real family, she said, her voice quivering in all the wrong ways. I'm afraid that someday you'll take my child away from me because you were raised in a family that doesn't respect mothers. It was less of a plea and more of an accusation aimed directly at Sam and all of us. At first, Sam said nothing. But when she finally blurted out, "Your family is like a cult, and you're a terrible father," something in Sam's expression shifted. I had never seen him like that before. He didn't yell. He didn't flinch. He just stood up, calm and resolute, and looked her dead in the eyes. "You're a toxic liar," he said. "I'm disgusted I ever held your hand, and I thank the universe every day that I walked away from that altar." Then, in front of everyone, he listed all the things he had once ignored. The subtle insults about our family, the dismissive tone toward our dad, the fake kindness she wore like a mask. "You never loved me," he continued. "You just loved having control, but I'll never be your puppet again." She cried, of course, loudly, dramatically, but none of us felt sympathy. Her parents sat there, red-faced and speechless. Her sisters tried to defend her, saying things like, "Every family has issues," and "Life's too short to hold grudges." Sam didn't even look at them. He turned to Daniela's father and said, "If you want to sue me, go ahead, but if you do, I'll make public every dirty little secret your family's been hiding for years." After that, silence. The meeting ended quickly. We agreed to return the wedding gifts, cancel the honeymoon, and change the locks on the house. Daniela kept crying, begging to keep the engagement ring even though no one asked about it. But it didn't matter anymore. Sam walked out of that room taller, lighter, free. And in that moment, we all exhaled together, like we had survived a storm we never asked for. And if you're in a relationship where love feels like a never-ending test of endurance, please know this. You deserve peace, you deserve respect, and you deserve to walk away. Sometimes walking away isn't a failure. It's the only way to save yourself. And sometimes, the person you thought was the love of your life is really just the most painful lesson you'll ever learn. If you think that after calling off a wedding, packing up your stuff, and cutting off all contact, everything is finally over, let me warn you, for some people, that's just the beginning. Let me tell you what happened next in the life of my brother Sam. The same man who walked out of his own wedding moments before the ceremony because his fiancée had secretly invited our estranged mother, the one we had all cut off years ago without telling a soul. After that intense confrontation where Sam finally laid everything bare, we thought things had come to a clear, decisive end. But no. Daniela, Sam's ex, wasn't ready to let go so easily. A week after the meeting, she posted a dramatic announcement on social media. "Please pray for me and the child I'm carrying. Being a single mom isn't what I wanted, but I'll do my best. Our entire family was stunned. His phone blew up with messages like, "Is the baby yours? Why did it get this far? Did you force her to get an abortion?" Sam, though calm, was clearly exhausted. He called Daniela and asked her to delete the post, but instead of owning up to anything, she cried and said, "You don't trust me? You want me to go get an ultrasound in public?" Sam stood his ground. "Then let's go get a scan right now. If you really are pregnant, I'll take responsibility. But if you're not, never bring this up again." And of course, just as we expected, she wasn't pregnant. When she was exposed, Daniela shifted from fake tears to full-blown rage. "I don't need you, but I'll make sure everyone sees what a monster you are." She not only kept the original post up, but followed it with another one this time, accusing Sam of forcing her to get an abortion. You heard that right. From fake pregnancy to claiming she was the victim of forced termination just like that, social media exploded. This time, my sister-in-law Anna, Joe's wife, had had enough. Anna is usually the calm one in our family, but when she saw Sam being slandered like that, she called Daniela directly. I don't know how long the call lasted, but after that day, all of Daniela's posts mysteriously vanished. Anna didn't stop there. She drafted a carefully written email attaching proof that Sam couldn't be the baby's father since he had been out of the country during the supposed time of conception. She sent it to everyone on the wedding guest list with the subject line, "The truth must be known." Daniela's family later called and threatened to sue Anna for defamation. But we weren't afraid. Because the truth doesn't need protection, it just needs to be told. As for Daniela, she kept spiraling. One morning, she left a series of voice messages for Sam, saying that if he didn't come back to her, she would end her life because there was no point in living anymore. This time, Sam didn't engage. He called the police. She was placed under temporary psychological observation. And while none of us were happy that things escalated to this point, we knew there was nothing more we could do. She clearly needs help, but not from us. In the end, we changed all our phone numbers, deleted old accounts, and blocked every line of communication. As for Sam, he started a new chapter. This time, a real one. No drama, no lies. And the lesson we took from it? Someone who once loved you can turn into a completely different person once they lose control. And sometimes, walking away doesn't mean you're weak. It means you've finally become too strong to keep suffering. Hi everyone, this might be the last time I share this story. No more plot twists, no more angry tears or gut-wrenching shocks, just a simple ending, filled with peace. I'm the youngest sibling in the family. The three of us, me, Joe, and Sam, have been through more than most people could imagine. We grew up under the thumb of an emotionally manipulative mother, endured years of chaos, and then watched Sam, my middle brother, walk out of his own wedding after discovering that his fiancée had secretly invited our estranged mother. It could have broken us completely, but strangely, it became the turning point, the moment we stopped surviving and finally started healing. I'm sharing this not for attention or pity, but for anyone who's ever been through something similar. Healing is real. After Daniela was exposed for faking a pregnancy and manipulating sympathy online, we cut ties with her for good. No drama, no second chances. Sam moved back in with Dad and took time off work to rest and rebuild. For the first time in years, I saw him smile not just to be polite, but because he genuinely felt peace. He started jogging every morning, not to impress anyone, but to clear his mind. One morning, he pushed too hard and collapsed. An older man feeding birds helped him up. When he asked if Sam was okay, Sam laughed and said, "At least I'm not running from a wedding anymore, just running for myself." Not long after, he met someone new. She's a baker. Kind, soft-spoken, steady, no drama, no games. We were cautious at first, but the way Sam changed around her was undeniable. He was himself again, relaxed, open, grounded. We knew she was good for him. Meanwhile, Dad found love again too. His longtime partner, Rita, is wonderful. We call her Grandma Rita now that Joe and Anna adopted a baby girl. She's tiny, joyful, and every time she laughs, it feels like our house exhales. And me? I'm engaged. After Sam's wedding disaster, I once joked I'd never marry. Matt nearly panicked he'd been planning to propose. Now, we're planning something simple and full of love. Of course, our life isn't perfect. Our mother still tries to crawl back into the picture. Recently, she faked having cancer to reach out to Anna's mom, trying to see her grandchild. But when questioned, her lies unraveled. She was publicly exposed, and this time, no one believed her. We didn't gloat. We didn't even get angry. We just felt done. She chose her path, and we chose ours. We chose peace. We chose not to forgive, and somehow that was healing too. Sam now lives with his girlfriend in a cozy place with 2 cats and quirky art on every wall. They're training for a marathon together. Joe and Anna are preparing to adopt again. And me? I'm soaking in every quiet, beautiful moment of being a bride-to-be. We're not perfect. We carry pain and memories that still sting. But we're still standing, still together. And that means something. If you're in the middle of your own storm, wondering if it'll ever get better, it can. There's life after betrayal. There's peace after chaos. And as Sam once said, we don't get to choose the family we're born into, but we do get to choose who we call family in the end.